In this video, we're going to cover a few things. One, the why. Why did we create conscious recovery groups and why do we structure them the way we do? The second part is the how. How do you facilitate the groups? What are the basic group philosophies and what makes them different maybe than some of the other groups that you have facilitated? So the why is very simple. I've been working in the addiction treatment field for over 12 years, and I have worked with some of the most phenomenal counselors and therapists around. And I have noticed something. So many counselors and therapists have a real gift for working with clients one-on-one. And then I've watched them facilitate groups and I've noticed their anxiety spiking as it comes to group time. Part of it is they're so busy and the idea of researching and developing groups is something that can be really difficult for them. I've seen therapists and counselors running over to the computer come group time and searching Brene Brown shame and printing a bunch of handouts and then running into group. So our hope is the way we have structured conscious recovery groups will give you a basic structure that will allow you to bring your full self into the facilitation without having to worry about researching content and developing groups on your own. So let's dive into our group philosophy and what makes it different than some other groups that I have seen facilitated, starting with the difference between psychoeducational groups and psychodynamic groups. Conscious recovery groups are psychodynamic. In other words, we are not trying to teach our clients something. We are creating a space for learning. We're creating a space where they can access their own inner wisdom. I don't know about you, but I've only really changed my own behavior or my own perspective when I experience something, not when I understand something. I've attended a lot of professional addiction treatment conferences, and I have noticed so many of the presenters presenting in a pretty cerebral way. Perhaps you've gone through trainings or back in school, you see a PowerPoint and you're learning some of the key concepts about addiction. All of that is great. And my experience is a lot of counselors and therapists then go into group and think they're going to deliver information in that same cerebral way. The bottom line is, I don't think clients change when they understand something. I think there is a shift when they experience something. So let's talk about some of the key points that make conscious recovery groups different, starting with addressing the different learning styles. Back in the day when I was in school, there was essentially one learning style, and that is memorization and regurgitation. So either the teacher stood up in front of the class and taught something and I was supposed to remember it, or I was supposed to read something in a book and then also remember it. That to me is not the only way we learn. As a matter of fact, that works only for a small percentage of people. So in conscious recovery groups, we realize that it really isn't about lecture and memorization. It's more about creating experiences. Some clients learn by reading. Some clients learn by processing, some clients learn by writing, and the list can go on. In conscious recovery, we do address these different learning styles so that everyone has an opportunity to have a deeper experience with the groups. Another key point is keeping things moving. As a matter of fact, I had a client once make fun of me saying, "Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Do we have to go over to the corner and stand on our head now?" Of course that was a joke, but not really, because I don't know about you, but my attention span is about 8 minutes to do one thing and then I want to be on to something new. And if you imagine our clients, maybe even more so based on multiple factors. So in conscious recovery groups, there is always movement. Maybe it's 10 minutes in a pair process. Then they shift to a small group where they read and discuss out loud. Then there's a large group discussion or a brainstorming. So keeping things moving really helps keep our clients engaged in the material. Another key element of our group philosophy is willingness to abandon the set curriculum. This is a bit nuanced and quite frankly an art form more than a science. You will see that conscious recovery groups follow a very structured outline with times alongside each exercise. We really do encourage you to follow that, and sometimes something that shows up in the room is far more important than trying to push through the exercises. I remember when I was first starting to facilitate groups, the analogy that worked well for me is imagine that we're on a river and we're in a boat. I noticed my style was a motorboat. Let me put that motor in the water and run this group. And then I started realizing that the group could almost carry itself, but then I noticed that I wasn't really steering. The group was just doing what it wanted to do. So for me, group facilitation is more like steering the boat and allowing the group to have its own flow. So when something emerges in the room, and that is in the room, and it's something that seems important, willingness to go with that and see what emerges can be really powerful. The final point I want to address with our group philosophy is this: I am studying to become a cop, curious, open, and present. My intention before I start group is to really hold space, to take some time to center. For me, I take a couple of minutes of mindfulness, and then my intention is to be curious about where the group wants to go, to be open, as we already explored, be open to abandon the set curriculum, be open to focus on what is emerging in the room, and then truly it's about being present. Really being curious, open, and present will allow you to facilitate a much more dynamic, powerful, and effective group.